Morning, guys. We're on Hebrews chapter 1, reading from verse 5, looking at who Jesus is. As the writer to the Hebrews explains that Jesus is far greater than anything else, far greater than Moses, than the angels. He is our great high priest, etc. But we're going to look at verse 5, and it says, "For to which of the angels did he ever say, 'You are my son, today I have begotten you'? And again, I will be a father to him, and he shall be a son to me." And we see the writer to the Hebrews quoting many Old Testament scriptures. Here, Psalm 2, many scriptures referring to the Davidic covenant, which talks about the kingship and the sonship, inheritance through David, and that comes to the line of Christ and who he is and how he's going to rule. And also Hebrews here shows us again how much of the Old Testament speaks about Jesus, and so it reinforces that Psalm 2 is a messianic psalm. It's talking about Jesus. In Psalm 2 verse 7 it says, "I will tell of the decree. The Lord said to me, 'You are my son. Today I have begotten you.'" He's begotten, born of Mary, so he is born a human, but incarnate, so God putting that seed in Mary, and so he is fully, in that way, fully God and fully man. Verse 8 of Psalm 2, "Ask of me, and I will make the nations your inheritance, and the ends of the earth your possession." And so everything belongs to Jesus. He inherits all things that is part of the Father, in that sense, one with the Father. Verse 9, "You shall break them with the rod of iron and dash them in pieces like potter's vessel." And so Jesus came into the world, born of a human, saved mankind, but he will come back as a judge with an iron rod to judge all those who don't turn to him. Going down to verse 12, "Kiss the Son, lest he be angry." Jesus is coming. We are commanded to accept him, to have faith in him. "And you perish in the way, for his wrath is quickly kindled. Blessed are all those who take refuge in him." And that's Psalm 2 referring to Jesus, that we must take refuge in him, that we must kiss the Son, and just the importance that the Son of God is not just a little lower than God. He is one with God. He is his Son, and therefore part of him, and therefore he is God. So moving down to verse 6, "And when he again brings the firstborn into the world, he says, 'And let all the angels of God worship him.'" And just that aspect of firstborn, we, especially under the Old Testament context, firstborn always inherited everything. And so Jesus, being the firstborn in the sense of God, inherits all that God has. Firstborn, and he's the one who has led the way. He's the one who's conquered death, and he's the one who was even before the creation of the world, and therefore firstborn. In Deuteronomy 32 it says, verse 43, "Rejoice with him, O heavens, bow down to him, all gods, for he avenges the blood of his children and takes refuge on his adversaries. He repays those who hate him and cleanses his people's land." But just that aspect of bowing down and referring to all gods. All gods would encompass the angels. Every living creature must bow down and worship Jesus. All creation must give glory to Jesus. Psalm 97 verse 7, "All worshippers of images are put to your shame, who make their boast in worthless idols. Worship him, all you gods." And there again, little g, like in Deuteronomy, all those created gods, all those things in this world must bow their knee to Jesus and worship him. And many different scriptures like that. So even the angels, Matthew 13 verse 41, "The Son of Man will send his angels." So the Son of Man, Jesus, will send his angels. They're his angels. those angels must worship him. And so the Hebrew writer is saying very clearly that angels are lower than Jesus, and they're made to worship Jesus, not the other way around. And so as we look at the most powerful created being and we consider Christ far above that, we should automatically also worship Jesus. And so he sends the angels out at the end of the world, gather up his kingdom, it says in Matthew 13:41. And just to close with John 5 verse 18, we have today, we either accept these things, that Jesus is God and that he has come into the world and then we need to worship him, or we deny it and we'll go to hell. And so there's just really two choices one has. The Pharisees rejected this statement that we're reading in Hebrews. In John 5 verse 18 it says, "This is why the Jews were seeking all the more to kill him, because not only was he breaking the Sabbath, but he was even calling God his own Father, making himself equal with God." And so they understood when Jesus made these claims of being the Son of God, when he claimed to be one with the Father, he wasn't just saying that he's some lower created being. He was saying that he is God. And this is the point that the Pharisees said, no ways, we will not accept that. And so today the question is, will you accept it? Will you accept that Jesus is God, and will you bow and worship him today? Amen.